practical. So
Okay.
please, I want to make a request. You have
Okay.
been giving us scenarios of incidents and things that could happen since last week that we started this class. But I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking that why can't we just look for a device to, I mean, to make sure that the practicals are more intensive? I mean, like so that we can just use them to practicalize all these things. Like the way you're talking about Sudan.io right now, like we can just use a device to test everything, like in a brief for us
Okay.
rather to go. So that's
Okay.
it.
Okay. Most of these things that I'm talking about, first of all, we are not there. We are not even close to them yet. Even some of these things I'm actually showing, I'm only doing it for you to know the danger of the IP address, of you exposing yourself. What is possible by exposing yourself? We haven't gotten, I have a lot of system, I have a lot of connections here. I have about 6 systems here that I use in working with organizations and I can use for practicals. So that is not an issue. What I'm doing first is to show us the importance of protecting our network. What are the dangers there? We are yet to get to Wireshark. Someone was asking Wireshark, how do you get username and password that people are using? We are not there. I can't just skip from nmap and then we go to Wireshark and I start going to Metasploit. Then there are people here that might not have those understanding, and we have to engage them so they have the full understanding of how nmap actually works, why you need to protect your network, what are the dangers of not protecting your network, and we move from there. So there are a lot of practicals that are going to come up. If you want me to hack your phone to show you everything that who you have been chatting with, we will get to that place. I would hack your phone for you. I will turn on your camera if you want me to do that. But until we get there, let's take the class slowly. I hope we are good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So let's proceed with how do we defend ourselves so our IP are secured. What you do is that you come to this place called Windows Defender Firewall. Windows Defender Firewall. And then we can click on this thing called Advanced Settings. I think I've been clicking a lot of stuff. Windows Firewall, and then you click on Advanced Settings. I think I was too fast with it. Let me take it slow again. You go to your search button, you type Windows Firewall or Windows Defender Firewall. These are just the first step of security. Windows Defender Firewall, and you click on Advanced Settings. When you click on Advanced Settings, it opens this particular dialog box, and then you see something like inbound rules and you see outbound rules. Inbound rules and outbound rules. And then before you do this, you need to take note of the IP address that you've scanned, your IP address that you scan, and you look at the ports that are open. The open port 135, 145, 139, blah, 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 that is open. One thing you cannot protect, there's a particular port you cannot protect, which is port 443. Because if you protect that particular port, that port is what makes you have access to internet. So if you block all the ports, you might not be able to, you know, browse. So what you do is you come to this place on the inbound rules. Let me be sure we are all there.
Yes, yes, sir. We are there. We are there.
All right. Okay. On the inbound rules, you click on new rules. In the new rules, you click on port. It is always good you follow this process. There are multiple ways you can do it, but this process is okay now that we are still using Windows, because we are only going to work on the first part of nmap, then we are still going to work on the advanced part of it when we are using Kali. um, when you click on this port, you click next. If it is TCP, you type that particular port address 135. If it is 135 that is open, type 135. If it is 445, you want to close the port, type 445. If it is 139, type 139. The reason why I wouldn't proceed so much from here is so that I wouldn't do anything that will obstruct the network and then we can't have conversation again. So these particular steps are good that you take them probably after the class. So when you come to this place, you first of all go on the TCP, which I'm going to start talking about some of the ports. Your specific local port, you can put for the TCP. You put in that IP address, then you click next. Let me just put any IP address here, 156. I don't want any situation where. And once you click next, you're going to see block the connection. And then you click block the connection, and then you click next. It is always good for you to open to unlock this domain, or if you feel like you can protect everything, you can tick everything, go next, next, and then okay. And then while you are done with that, you go back to the advanced settings, you click on outbound rules, and you repeat the same thing on the outbound rules, because as long as you're connected to the system, your system is communicating with the outward system server, and the outward system is communicating back to your system. So you need to do it to the inbound and to the outbound rules. So go ahead, the same process on the outbound rules, create new rules. Go to port, next, type in that particular IP address, 15C or 13C, so next, block the connection, and next, next, okay. And then you can restart your system. Perhaps you block everything around you and you get confused what you have done to yourself. You can always come back and click on restore default. So if you click on restore default, it will it will take back everything to the normal appropriate connection, how it was. But then those ports are open. So in case you mistakenly block all the ports and your system cannot communicate, be careful what you block. Just make sure it is that those open ports that you focus on. That we are going to talk about service. The service that actually works for you to be able to connect to other system is port 443. That is the only port that should be open. Port 443 should be open. Sometimes some people want to allow 445, and I will still explain everything about those ports as long as we have time on our side. I don't want to rush the class. I want to make sure we have the understanding of everything we are doing. It is always good we get it slowly, then we rush it, and you miss a lot of things. Please, what is the advantage of the one you ask us to leave in inbound rules? I didn't ask you to leave. Okay, the 443, that's a port called 443. Now, the port 443 is the one you use to connect to your internet. For you to be able to browse google.com, for you to be able to browse facebook.com, all those things, you need one port to be open. If you block everything, your system cannot communicate to the outside world, to a server. So 443 is not appearing in our scan because it is kind of protected by the service providers that you're using, either MTN, Airtel, Nine Mobile. What else do we use in this country? They are protecting you with 443. And I want you to also pay attention to something, that when we type, what is my IP address? You will observe that there's an IP address here, and this IP address is IPv4, which it means Internet Protocol version 4. This particular IP address is from your network provider. Their IP address is different from your own IP address that is connected to your system. They have protect their end, but if you don't protect yourself, you'll be having issues. Though they are protected and not protected, most of them, in a sense that if one is hacking through that IP address, you can get data and do some kind of stuff through theirs. But they are protecting, they are an organization. You don't have any issues with them. If they get hacked, that is their cup of tea. But it is always good that you protect your own system from what it is connected to. So I think most of them are trying and they are protecting themselves very well. So, but the ones you are using from your port Wi-Fi, you need to be able to cover those ones up. Any questions before we proceed? Did you understand? After the new rules, you put in the port. I think there's something I need to show you guys here. And sir, take your time and go slowly with us. All right. You want me to be very slow? Am I too fast? Please let me know. Okay, someone said I should take the inbound again. Let's start all over. So we can come to our search button, and then we type Windows Defender Firewall. Windows Defender Firewall. And then we click on it, and it's going to open to this particular port. And then you click on Advanced Settings. And then you see this open. You can click on the inbound rules. And all these ones that are activated are telling you how your network is being connected, blah, blah, blah. And that's why they have access to the internet. Your Chrome is here, your cast to device, if you're streaming, all these things are available here. So then you click on New Rules. You create your own rules. And when you click on rules, you click on ports. Now, it is always good you block your TCP ports or UDP ports, which I would explain these things in, for a better understanding. TCP port, you can go to next, and then you can first of all activate TCP and cover the port maybe 168. I'm trying not to cancel our class by, dialing anything yet. Let's say this port is open. Don't click on all local ports because you most likely will block your connection. Click on this particular port that is open. If you want to, the list of the ports you've seen, if you want to block those ports, you can say 168 space, you put comma at it, and then you type the next one, 123 or 124, comma, and you put space and you type 156. And once you are done with whatever port you have seen, you click next, and then you come down here and you click block the connection. Block the connection. Once you block the connection, you next, and then that's okay. You can now restart your system. It will show you here, it's going to appear here that you have set in those rules. And you apply the same thing on the outbound rules. You come back here also on the outbound rules, you click on the new rules, and then you click on port, and then you click next, and then you type in those ports, and then you press OK.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
It appears we all have the port 445, 435, and 445, 135, and 139 open. What are the use of this port? Because we can just go ahead and block a port that is very important to us.
Okay. 1 3 port is the, let me say this. 135 port um is a port for Microsoft. And in the port of Microsoft, if I'm making use of this particular system and I type in search, let me use search exploit. Oh, sorry, I make a mistake. Search exploit. And for example, I see something here and I type in, and out of these particular things that I'm searching for under Windows, I may use it stands for Microsoft. I want you to also observe something when we did our scan. Um, you might see if I'm making use of a scan like 192, let me use, sorry, nmap, let me use pn/sv 192.168.0.111, and I want to show you something so you actually understand why we are doing what we're doing. Microsoft opened those ports for their own sake. And that is the reason why most of us who make use of Windows 10 and the rest of it, we always realize that our system is always asking us to update. So you can see this particular port here, 135. Because of the command I use, the version shows me Microsoft Windows RPC. So this port is open. So back to this particular one. Let's say, let me clear this off. Let's say I use search exploit Microsoft Windows RPC. Now I have some things that I can use. Let me just give an example. I'm not really going to do that much. And until we get to the class, and then I copy this particular one. And then I paste it here. Like, okay, I make use of the use. I paste it here. So that particular port is open. That's why you can see red. And then I type options. And now I see options. What you are going to realize is that you see something like this, ROs, R ports. These are Microsoft stuff. And then with mine, and I say, that's your IP address, which is your R host. I say that set your IP address, because your IP address already tells me that that port is open. And I use 192.168.0.111. And then I type options. Don't worry about this one I'm doing. I'm just showing you something. Sorry, set our host. Host 192.168.0.111. Okay, that's set, and I put options, and now your IP address is here, and now I set our port 192. Okay, our port is 135 because that port tells me that it is 135. So if I set up that port, now I use options to verify. Though I'm not doing it the correct way, I'm just using it as an example. Now you can see TCP port, blah, blah, blah. I can use the word info. In this particular scenario that I paint here, what I use, this particular thing I built here, once I execute it with some payload, once I execute it, everything you are doing on your internet right here that you are browsing, whatever you browse, I may not have access to all your system, just this particular one, whatever you are browsing with that particular IP address, I would have all the information completely with me. All I have to do is to put in few payload and then use the word maybe exploit and go. And it's going to connect to that particular system. It's, let's say, run. I've not actually put in any payload. So that's just the reason. So once I run it, you are going to see blue, 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 blue. And then your system, every time you are actually browsing, I will be seeing it. But some of us have actually heard of this word remote desktop connection. Some of us might have heard of this word remote desktop connection. So this simply means that I can operate my system from another system. I can control this system from another system. So Microsoft organization creates that one for themselves. And because they create it for themselves, for them to be able to have access. And that's the reason why you always observe that Microsoft did that for a good purpose. And the purpose why Microsoft did that, leave that port open 135, is so that they can always update you on the new software that they've produced. One thing is a marketing strategy for them to keep selling their softwares to you. And secondly, to update you, to protect you from anybody, from maybe giving you the right update on your firewall to update your firewall and the rest of it. But why not block it? And whenever you feel like I'm supposed to update my Windows, update your Windows and then close back the ports. Then waiting for MTN to, for Microsoft to always update you and just give you signals every time. And that port is actually open, which an hacker can have that port and then take advantage of you. So that is the reason behind it. I hope you are able to understand.
Thank you so much for the explanation. So, but if that's a Microsoft port, I think if we are leaving it open, or let's say if we block it, then we'll be having problems like, let's say if you want to communicate on Teams, if you want to communicate using your Microsoft,
No,
it's not going to be possible, right?
no. It's going to be possible. Now,
Okay.
they only open those ports. It's just like they open those ports for you to say, maybe I would explain it better. There are a lot of hackers that take advantage of these systems that always update. And because most of these people who produce phone, who produce all the softwares, they want to make profit. Sometimes it's not like they are updating you so that they are protecting you. They want to update you so you can use your data. Once you use your data, they make some profits. But the organization have access to it. But as the organization develop themselves, hackers also develop themselves. And there are a lot of SQL payload or injection that you can insert because those particular stuff are open. If you build a house whereby there is no windows and it's a real block, then it will be more difficult if there's only one way, which the one way to enter your house is supposed to be through the front door, which is port 443, that is very secured. But if you have your windows is not secured, You can pass through your roof. They can pass through anywhere. Then somebody is just going to look for the, for the weak side of it and then get into it. But when you are using your Microsoft, when you block those things, you can now decide that every two weeks you want to update your system. Not that you are just going to open that port down and wait for Microsoft to tell you to update. You can decide 2 weeks or every month you are going to update your system, because while that window is open, someone else can take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now, we are to touch on a few things. Let's look at our time. We have about 15 minutes. You can disable. Okay. Um, I would like us, because most of these terms that I've been using, some people might not really understand it. I think one of the things I want to do is to make it more easier. I would give further explanations to it. I want to give out one of the things I want to do is there is a book I want to give to us that is going to talk to us about all the open ports that can be vulnerable. All the ports, port 22, port 21, port 20, what they actually represent. And then port port 25, port 53, that's what it represents: DNS, SMTP for simple mail transfer, um, port 80, HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, port 1110, 110, 135, 139, 445, all the old ports. I'm going to send us a copy of a book after this class. I want us to go read about those particular ports and what they represent, and make your own little bit research. So when we come back in the next class, I will now explain those ports to us. So whenever you see any of those ports that are open, you should understand the danger of what is actually uh, exposed to the public. To whatever is exposed to the public, that is what you should be able to do. Because I'm thinking explaining it here, we would not be able to cover it now. But if perhaps I send us the book, we go through it, and on Saturday we would cover it up from this particular spot, and then we are going to continue from that place. I don't know if that will be fine with us, so that others will
Yes,
be able
sir.
to use
Thank you,
this
sir.
class to
That's the best
dissect.
thing, sir. Thank you.
You said what?
That's the best thing. Thank you.
All right, all right. So I will forward the link. I will forward the books in the next maybe 2 hours or 1 hour. It will be sent to the group. Just download it and go through it. Please, these things, what you can do is this: whatever book I'm giving, you can just keep them in your mail, save them somewhere in your mail, so that anytime you need some tricks and some things leave your head, you can always go back and just pick them up. Because we have a lot to cover, and sometimes some things might skip your mind. So thank you, everyone. I hope we are able to gain something today. I believe with time we are going to understand more and we'll be able to do a lot. So thank you very much. Have a great day. See you
Hello,
all.
sir.
God bless. Yeah, someone want to ask a question.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm sure this is going to help a lot of us. I was doing something on pots today for a friend. He had a couple of pots that he needed opened. He had a Windows, a virtual Windows machine somewhere in the
Okay.
cloud. So I went through all this. This was a couple of hours before you started. I went
Okay.
through everything, add ports, open all the ports, but it still didn't work. It was still showing that the ports were closed. So I was now wondering, is there another way to be able to open or close the ports without having to use the keyboard? I'm
I
sorry,
think
I
it's
think I muted.
yeah. I think you're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know where I stopped.
Yeah, about the port. You want to know something about the port? If there's a way to
Yes.
open the port.
Is there any other way apart from the new rule, ports number, and all that? Is there any
Yeah,
other way?
there are many ways. You say you want to link it to the virtual box.
No,
The system.
the virtual box, the ports are closed. I want to
Yeah.
open it.
Okay. Okay. You're not going to open the port from maybe Windows. You open the port from the virtual box, from the terminal, from the root terminal. There are some
Okay.
commands you would run there. I don't know. I'm having many classes even after this, but you can send a reminder message to me directly about it. So I will just forward some of the commands you can run on that route before maybe today goes off,
Thank
and
you
then you
so
just
much.
start.
I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hope to have conversations more with you on Saturday. I would forward the link of the recorded class to the Telegram group and also the book. Bye bye, everyone. See you.